Hello, and welcome to a Sunday night edition of All or Not According to Jack. As you can see, I have some very distinguished guests this Sunday night. Yeah, he's looking around. Who is Mr. George Lamie? Welcome, George. And of course, from Sea of Tranquility, Mr. Pete Pardo.
What's up, everybody?
Hello, guys. How you guys doing?
Doing good,
Right.
Jack.
Just so you know that I was actually offered tickets to the Met game tonight, and I turned them down. I was just too tired, and yeah. And Sunday night games are tough when when you gotta wake up early, and it's Monday morning blues, and you gotta work and blah blah blah. But
Yeah, and you're closer to the stadium than me. I wouldn't even consider a Sunday night game.
yeah.
No chance.
But it's not as close as you think. Not with them doing work on the freaking Cross Island Parkway, which backed me up for a good 45 minutes coming home last night.
Well, after my opening day fiasco, I'm not driving to Citi Field anytime soon. I'll take the train, but I won't drive there.
Well, then the next best thing, you got to come to my house and we go. So
yeah, Long Island's not much better, but yeah, I know that is better.
yeah, at least you got a place to stay. So
true.
So oh, okay. So I see it says champion. So you're a Cubs fan?
Yeah.
Very nice. Congratulations to them. I was really happy for them when they won.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah. Awesome. So in any event, our topic for tonight, we wanted to do a great idea, Pete, and I think Anthony Ferraro had this idea as well. We wanted to talk about some rants for baseball, and the obvious first one, Pete and I both being Mets fans, just the fact that they now only have their second no-hitter in baseball in Met history. They've been around since 1962, and the first one was great. It put Citi Field on the map when Johan Santana did it, but there was a questionable foul ball hit by Carlos Beltran that could have been a double, but luckily for the Mets and Johan, they called it foul, and he got the first ever no-hitter in Mets history. So now, in a little more ignominious happening, so the Mets had a no-hitter. What was it? Friday night, I believe, right?
Yep.
Against our hated Philadelphia Phillies, but it took 5 pitchers to basically do that 9-inning no-hitter. So before we get into my thoughts, what are your thoughts, guys? What do you think?
Well, I'm like you, Jack. I saw what you said, and I agree. It loses its luster for me. But I also agree with Pete, is that you're going to see less and less of regular no-hitters and see more of these with the way people are obsessed with pitch count. This guy had, I think, 86 through 5 innings. There's no way he was going to make it anyway. So is it better than not throwing one? Yeah, I guess so. But is it as something I don't remember, like an old days no-hitter? No, not at all.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't have expected him to go 154 pitches, but you know what? Maybe at least go to the 7th inning, something like that. But anyway, what do you think, Pete?
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunately the game has changed a lot in recent years. And, we talk about the Johan Santana no-hitter, which was great, right? And such a special moment for Met fans. But the fact is, he was never the same after that no-hitter. He threw 135 pitches?
Something like, yeah.
Way too many. And that was it for him. That was basically his career right there, unfortunately. So, but yeah, I mean, most teams baby these pitchers nowadays. I mean, we all grew up watching guys go out and throw 120 pitches every start. I mean, that's just what happened. And you had your middle relievers, but for the most part, you barely needed to use them because starters would go 6-7 innings, and then you'd have your setup guy and your closer, and that was every game. Right now, it's like, geez, you get starters go 4 or 5 innings if you're lucky, and then you have to bring the middle relievers out day in and day out. It's the way the game is. So for me, it wasn't as significant as if one guy went out and did it, but that's the game nowadays. To me, it was a win. It was a great win and a great overall team performance, which I think was good. So I'm happy for him. It's really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's almost like it happened. It's great. It's number 2 officially, but we've already moved on to other things. But with Santana's, we were talking about it for like what, 2 weeks.
Yeah, easily.
So yeah, I mean, it's.
But for me, the thing that what is it? Not the formality, the analogy that I drew is like back when I was in like 8th grade. I think I got an 84 in a math test, and I was pretty psyched because I didn't have the best grades. So I go home and I show it to my mother. It's like, could have been a 90 or a 95, and yeah. So that's kind of the way that is for me. It's like, like George said, it lost its luster for me. I'm like, I'm happy, of course, they got the win, and I'm happy they did it against the Phillies. Of course, I can't stand the Phillies, but again,
wasn't there like 9 walks in the game or something like that?
You know what? I was off the grid Friday, so I think I actually hit the sack at like 9 o'clock. I was so exhausted, but
I bet 3 years from now, you guys don't even remember who started that game.
yeah, well, it was Tyler McGill, I believe, right?
Yeah.
And which ironically, you know what? We were all very concerned when Jacob deGrom went down, and here the rest of the team is pitching lights out.
He stepped up, and we haven't missed a beat, which is good. And I got to say, for us, Diaz looked amazing that night. He pitched a lights out 9th inning.
Very nice.
Which is, what you want to see from him. So that was encouraging, showing he could pitch in a big spot, because I'm sure there were plenty of people at Citi Field were like, oh God, we got the no-hitter going into the 9th. Diaz is going to come in and give up the hit. So it didn't happen, which was good. So kudos to him.
So George, from a Cubs fan perspective, what do you think?
About how the Mets are doing?
Actually, no. You know what? I'll tell you what. The next, I had a couple topics, but we'll skip to topic number 3. What do you think about having the DH in the National League now? How do you feel about that?
Historically, I've never been able to get worked up about the DH one way or the other. Now that I'm faced with it, I think I'm in favor of it, simply because you can't make a case to me that we're going to be missing something, or are we going to be missing pitchers batting? That was usually painful. I mean, it was nice when we have a guy that could hit. You guys had Mike Hampton, we had Carlos Zambrano, Fergie Jenkins. It was always an advantage to have a pitcher that could hit, but all I remember is all the instant outs that we've had, and nobody wants to see a guy hits 160. So for me, I think I'm more or less in favor of it, not strongly, but it doesn't work me up.
Right. Okay, cool. What do you think, Pete?
I'm for it. I agree with George. I've been watching, baseball my whole life. And, back in the day, pitchers some of them were halfway decent hitters. They could at least bunt, right? Do something that brought something to the table. Man, for the last like decade or two, 90% of the pitchers can't even lay down a bunt.
Yeah.
All they do is strike out. They're automatic out. And I've gotten tired of everybody saying, well, it's taking all the strategy out of the game. There's no strategy. It's automatic outs up every time the pitcher comes to bat. I don't care who they are. Yeah. What's the point anymore? Meanwhile, the American League has been flourishing for decades with the DH. It's like, it's baseball now. It's baseball. And, offense is at a premium. I mean, it's so weird how it's like you have certain guys who are hitting home runs like crazy, but it's like a very few. The rest of the league, nobody's hitting. So you gotta offense puts butts in the seats, right? So the game gets pretty boring when it's all like either strikeouts or home runs. There's nothing else. So, and let's face it, most pitchers have been pretty shitty hitters. So over the last bunch of years, like George said, you occasionally get like one guy like Jacob deGrom was one of our best hitters last year, right? And he's a pitcher, but
when he was still on the Mets,
yeah, exactly. So I'm all for it. I'm happy it's here.
Okay, well, that's cool. Well, I happen to agree with you guys on this one all the way. I mean, I think that if it's a rule in one league, it should be a rule in both leagues. And what's nice is it adds a little bit of excitement to the game, because say you have men on base and there are 2 outs and the pitcher's the number 9 spot's coming up. It's no longer an automatic out.
Right.
You know, every once in a while, Jim McCann's gonna get a hit for you, or Nito, or whomever, and Nito did get a double for us the other day and knocked the run in with 2 outs. So
You know what would drive me crazy is when your team has a pitcher that's throwing a good game, but it's close, and then his turn comes up and you need offense, so they pull a guy throwing a good game just so you have a pinch hitter. That annoys me so bad.
And the reliever comes in and gives up a couple runs, and it's like,
or you leave him into bat, and he screws your rally up.
yeah.
That's not going to happen anymore. Just for that, I'm for it.
Right.
And I think a lot of teams are using it, and especially I've been watching the Mets do it. I mean, Buck Showalter is really using the DH to give guys who play every day in the field a day of rest, but still get their bat in the lineup. And he's been evolving that DH pretty regularly. I mean, granted, there's a lot of teams that have to have that one DH guy, right? The guy who just sucks in the field, and he's just going to be in the DH every day because you got to have his bat in the lineup. But the Mets are really doing it a different way. I don't know what the Cubs are doing. I haven't followed like who's been DHing for them mostly, or are they doing the round robin thing as well?
They switch it up pretty good.
Okay, yeah, that's the way to do it, I guess.
Right.
If you don't have that one guy, like not everybody's a David Ortiz, right?
Right.
And not every team has someone like that. So, but yeah, I think it's working out well so far.
Well, for us, it's been mainly Dom Smith and the Polar Bear, Pete Alonso, been switching off.
Yeah, Canó too, and I've seen a couple of others here and there, but I mean, the thing with the Mets is like Alonso. Quite honestly, I think he is turned into a pretty good fielder.
Yeah.
And I think he's as good as Dom Smith at first base now. There's really not much difference, I don't see.
Yeah, no, he's definitely improved his game. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Question.
Like you said, Jack, the rules should be uniform, and it's not going the other way. The players' union would fight it because all these DHs would lose a job. So it ain't going that way.
Yeah, true.
All right. So I don't know if this has plagued the Chicago Cubs, and I know for a fact they have a natural hatred for the St. Louis Cardinals.
Yes.
So I don't know if you saw what happened when the Mets happened to visit St. Louis on that last game, where the Mets got sick of being hit, and they finally set the purpose pitch in the area of Nolan Arenado, and and he ended up taking a 1-game suspension for inciting that brawl. So, first of all, what did the Cubs fans think of that?
They don't care what happens to the Cardinals. So if you guys would have ate them up, then we would have applauded. Totally.
Well, we did take 2 out of 3, so we helped you there. So
yeah.
So, well, what I'm hearing is that supposedly it's happening more often because pitchers don't have that sticky tack or whatever that they can use to control the spin rate of the ball, and more balls are getting away. And I also heard that ball that hit Alonso in the head was actually an 84-mile-an-hour changeup. Still 84 miles an hour. That shit's
Still
gonna hurt.
fast. Yeah, still fast.
So, any discussion on that?
I mean that whole topic. I mean, let's talk about the sticky tack stuff, right? Or spider tack, whatever they call
Spider
it.
tack, yes. That's
so now you can't use any of that stuff anymore because they felt that the pitchers having that have an unfair advantage, right?
Yeah.
But that doesn't really make any sense because if they've been using that stuff for years, and we've seen offense explode like over the last 20 years, right? So if that stuff was so advantageous to use for pitchers, we would see a complete lack of offense, right? So now here we have the pitchers can't use it anymore, and offense has been down since they first instilled that. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense at all. So
their case was that by controlling the spin rate, you can control your location of your slider, your cutter, and your curveball better. So,
if it means not hitting guys in the head and allowing you to control your pitches better, because quite frankly, you got half these pitchers that are up there that look like their only concern is throwing 100 miles an hour wherever it goes, right? Because gotta have velocity. I mean, there's no fun in that. Again, it gets back to this whole thing of like the game is just like you either hit the ball out of the ballpark or you strike out. There's like nothing else, right? How many people get
there
triples?
There is one other factor.
Walk.
Yeah. There is one other factor. Supposedly, they expanded the roster from 26 to 28. So you had two extra either position players or pitchers. And
Pitchers.
what they're saying is there are some pitchers that are in the majors that don't really belong there because, and that I can only assume that they expanded the roster because of the lockout. And
yeah, lack of spring training. So
right.
Most of your regulars are still not up to speed yet, I guess.
Right. Do either of you know when this roster drops down to 26?
Tomorrow.
Yeah,
I was just watching the Met game. They were saying that the Mets have to, I think, is it one person or two? I don't know. By tomorrow, they have to drop it down to one. So they're talking about all the possible scenarios. Apparently, Dom Smith has an option left. JD Davis has an option. One or two of the pitchers, and the other thing that's floating around is that they're thinking that the rumor is the Mets are pondering whether to just release Robinson Canó and bite the bullet on $20-something million a year for the next 2 years.
It's so fun. That's another rant I have. So I'm a part of some of these Met pages on Facebook, and they're all cut Canó, cut. Meanwhile, what are they paying him? $20 million a year? Easier said than done. You don't want to just eat $40 million because at the end of the day, who eats it? We do. Yeah.
That's the cry of every disgruntled sports fan. Get rid of them without thinking what that does.
Right.
Yeah. Well, on one hand, it's like, do you pay, you're going to pay him regardless, right?
Right.
He's getting paid. So he's getting his 20 million this year and next year. So you're going to pay him. But if he's sitting on the roster and he goes up there day in and day out and he can't hit for shit, he can't field anymore, and he's basically an automatic out, do you need him? Because you're playing him, and you can see they're not playing him every day anymore.
Right.
I've noticed over the last week he's playing less and less. So it's like, do you play him in favor of a JD Davis or a Dominic Smith, who you're probably going to get more offense from? And,
Right.
Davis is not a good fielder, but at least you can throw him in the DH spot every day. So you're paying him anyway. Is he going to sit there and be an automatic out and a distraction, or you just pay him to go home? That's where we're at. But the thing is, it's only May 1st. So who's to say? Me personally, give him another month. If he still isn't hitting at all, June 1st, bye-bye, done.
Right. I do remember the Mets had to come to a cataclysmic decision with Jason Bay once upon a time. I'm sure you remember.
Remember how long it took him to get there? But
Yeah.
they eventually had no choice, right? Because
Right.
he just was useless.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard when you got some, and this is another example of why you don't give an aging player a ridiculous contract like that.
Yeah.
Because when he got that contract, he was already like in his early mid-30s, and I think.
Well, for those of you out there who are watching who may not really know what's going on, or privy of what's going on with the Mets were basically forced to take Robinson Canó back because they wanted Edwin Diaz, their current closer. And Seattle said, no, you can only have him if you take Canó off of our hands. So
well, we'll give you $4 million out of his salary a year, but that's it.
Yeah.
Gee, thanks, guys.
But anyway, George, so what's like the scuttlebutt in Chicagoland these days? Anything?
I mean, last year was kind of like a white flag year. They just cut all the high-priced talent that was approaching contract status, and it's full-on rebuild right now. The only two guys left from the World Series team are Hendricks and Contreras, and Contreras' contract is up after this year, so it's basically total rebuild.
He's gone.
So nobody's happy.
I can see that.
You got to feel a little bit of satisfaction that you didn't re-sign Chris Bryant, and he went and got that ridiculous contract from Colorado, and now he's hurt already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just glad the Mets didn't sign him, because I know that was the talk of the winter. It's like,
yeah,
like,
always.
You guys didn't re-sign Baez.
No. So how is I got to ask? So how is he pitched for us the last 2 years? You guys, the pitcher. You guys.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Stroman.
Stroman.
Marcus Stroman. Yeah.
He's been terrible, right?
He pitched 7 scoreless last night, but before that he was 0-3.
Yeah.
Really? Wow. Hmm.
He's got a big mouth.
Yeah, he is a bit of a shit stirrer, but
Yeah.
but when he's on, he can be
he's
very
pretty
good.
He's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's pretty good. Quite frankly, though, I'm happy with who we got to replace him.
Yeah.
Scherzer's been pretty
Oh yeah,
as always. Yeah, it's a lot of money, but
and let me tell you, the guy we got from Oakland has been really good. That
Bassett's
yeah,
Bassett's
really good.
Yeah,
and you know what? And he's hasn't been too quiet about the fact that he's been complaining to baseball about the baseballs they've been using, and you know, feeding into this whole hit batter thing.
What do you guys think about doing away with the shift?
Good question.
I hate
Really good question.
I hate the shift.
I hate the shift, but I also hate the idea of legislating against strategy. It's a strategy. I mean,
Well, you know, it's funny. So if you look at hockey and basketball, now I'm a little more familiar with hockey than I am basketball, but they in the past, they put in things to kind of combat some of these, like in basketball, there is a scenario for illegal defense. And in hockey, they put this scenario in where you know, trying to get away from what they call the neutral zone trap and things of that nature. I could see it happening. I don't think they're going to make it go all the way back to the way it was, where you always had your shortstop and your second baseman in the middle of the bags, and
Yep.
But I think they may go for a more modified version of what they're doing. I could see that happening.
Well, here's the thing: if the hitters weren't so damn limited, it wouldn't be an issue, right? Because you would think it's not impossible to hit the ball the opposite way from where the shift is, right?
Right.
There are some talented hitters out there who can do that, but not everybody's Rod Carew, obviously. So it just amazes me how predictable so many of these hitters are. That
then the other thing
there's
is,
the shift, and whoop, there you go, right into
why don't they just bunt it more often?
or with something, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's just like, because they wouldn't do that shift all the time if these hitters would show a little bit something that they could adapt to it.
Right.
But because most of them can't, they continue to do it. And it's like,
Right.
and again, it's another thing that's been introduced into the game that makes it more predictable and boring.
Right. Yeah. I still remember Mickey Callaway a few years ago, and my hat's off to the Mets for getting Buck Showalter. He's been the difference maker here.
Yeah.
I mean, they finally have a manager with some brains. So like 2 managers ago, they had this guy, Mickey Callaway. I can't speak for you, Pete, but I fucking hated him. I couldn't stand him.
He sucked. Yeah. He was a complete idiot. Yeah.
There was a situation where they needed Dom Smith to lay down a bunt. And so they asked him after the game, why didn't you have him bunt? Oh, he's never done that before. I'm like, what? How could
Isn't that supposed to be part of every player's training in the game, right?
Yeah. Unbelievable.
Yeah, that's the lamest answer ever. Yeah, Mickey Callaway did not have a lot going on upstairs.
No. And I feel bad for the last guy. Was it Alex Cora? I think his name was
Rojas.
Yeah. You know what? He was in over his head. I think
he was. Yeah.
I feel like he was dictated to by the front office, and he had to use analytics, and they knew what they were getting with Buck Showalter, where he said he would look at it, but he's not gonna base all his decisions on it.
Yeah.
No way.
But Rojas was basically, when the whole Carlos Beltran fiasco happened, they needed to get someone in place real quickly.
Right.
He was there. He was, that was just basically, and they could have terminated him after that first year, but they figure, all right, we're still kind of figuring this out, so we'll just leave him in there. Yeah, he's a nice guy, but yeah, definitely over his head.
Right. So leads to my next rant, and this is more of a funny rant. So I've been working really hard lately, and I wanted to get some kind of new apparel, and I decided I would get a new Met hat. So my first question to you guys: how much do you think this hat cost? And it is a fitted hat, by the way. It's got the Major League insignia on the back.
$60.
45.
Okay.
Which still, I mean, It's a far cry from this one, which I bought at like Modell's for like $25, with the elastic band on the back. But
I think we sell Sea of Tranquility hats for 35.
oh,
If I'm not
okay,
mistaken. Yeah, for whatever reason, caps are expensive to make. I don't know
yeah.
why.
But
Kinda strange.
then so I went to the game a couple weeks ago when they played San Francisco, and thankfully they did win that game. But 45 for the hat, $30 for parking. So Jason and George went with me, and I bought a round of footlong dogs. You know how much the footlong dogs were?
$13 each.
Well, they were 10 each, but still $30 for 3 fucking hot dogs.
You're gonna spend 100. You're gonna drop $100 real quick at that City Field.
And I don't know if you guys know this. Okay, so we have 10 minutes, just so we have enough time. But what was I gonna say? Oh man, it threw me. So
You got the olds, Jack.
yeah, I got the olds. So basically, I found out when I went to buy those hot dogs, they don't take cash at City Field anymore. You gotta have a debit card.
Yep. No, they're completely cashless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then of course you get that annoying thing. How much of a tip would you like to leave? I'm like, you know what? I'm sorry, for $10 a hot dog and $30 for parking. I had to say no. I felt bad, but
It's expensive to go see a game. It really is. Yeah.
$14 a beer here.
Yeah.
I believe it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's what, 13, 14, or 15 at City Field.
Yeah.
Remember. Yeah. It's yeah. I mean, the days of I remember when we were younger, you go to a game and you you tear it up and you're gonna drink up a storm. And I remember, God, like a decade ago, taking a customer to a baseball game for work, and I think I spent like $300 on all the food and booze at the game. And it's just like 3 people, right? But that's how expensive it is. It's crazy.
It is crazy.
Now,
Basically,
when you bought the hat, did you go into the because they have the little stores in there?
yep. Yeah, we went right through the Jackie Robinson Rotunda. Yeah.
Was there a lot of like jerseys and things on sale there?
On sale? I don't know about on sale.
Well, no, I just mean for sale, not on sale.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. No, they have a very good selection. And
because sometimes, like during the year, if you go onto MLB.com to purchase stuff from the Mets store, their inventory is pretty low because they stock so much stuff at the stadium that
right.
you can't get a lot of mail order stuff. So it fluctuates like what's available. But then in the off season, you see like the stock of things go up. It's
right.
crazy. But it's not cheap.
That makes sense.
Jerseys with someone's name and number on the back, you're talking like $100+.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I think you were saying before we went on the air about a jersey purchase you just made.
Yeah, I bought two DeGrom jerseys for Evelyn. One the white one, and the other one is the light blue one. And yeah, they were both over $100 each. Yeah, I got an Alonso one for myself, and that was like what, $125.
Damn.
For some reason, the women's is always more expensive. I don't know why.
More stylish, better.
I guess.
Better,
I don't know. They seem like there's less material, so shouldn't it be less? I don't know. It's weird.
But anywho, so anything else you can give us about the Cubs, George, or just?
No, I mean
Playoffs this year?
It's what?
Playoffs for them this year?
No. They're destined for 3rd, maybe 4th. I mean, they won't finish in the bottom because not Pittsburgh, Cincinnati's pretty terrible right now.
They've only won 3 games.
Yeah.
Holy moly. They're like 3-20.
Yeah.
Cincinnati?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I've been so fixated on how well the Mets are doing. I didn't even look at the.
I was looking before. I was like, holy cow.
It'll be between the Cubs and the Pirates to stay out of 4th, and Cardinals and Brewers will be on the top.
It's funny. Anthony just put something up on Facebook recently about how empty it was at Pittsburgh, PNC Park. And I actually was thinking, I think the Mets are there in September. I actually want to go, but
it's a nice park.
What's that?
I heard it's a nice park, and I've never been to Pittsburgh, but I heard it's kind of a cool place. So yeah.
Well, I actually heard that they used the same architecture firm to build City Field that they used for PNC.
Oh, so it's probably similar, yeah.
Because the Wilpons liked it.
It does look good on TV.
Yeah. But I also want to congratulate the Mets for finally recognizing Tom Seaver and putting a statue right outside the Jackie Robinson Rotunda.
Yep.
Very front. So
speaking of Seaver, when you asked me to come on this and rant, I wanted to say my biggest pet peeve in baseball right now, or for the last 10 years probably, is arm babying. Ever since they went to a 5-man rotation and they got obsessed with pitch count and they think that it makes arms healthier, it's making them worse.
yeah,
When we grew up our age, I did this list: Seaver, Sutton, Perry, Necro, Palmer, Carlton, Ryan. Those are the guys in our era.
right.
None of those guys ever had a catastrophic arm injury. 5 out of the 7 of them threw 5,000 innings, which no one around is going to come anywhere close to right now.
Yeah.
How do they not get it? The numbers are there.
Yeah.
You don't make a muscle stronger by using it less. You got to use it more.
Yep.
They got to go back to 4-man rotations.
Believe it or not, in all my years of being a Met fan, I only saw Seaver pitch once in '75. He pitched a complete game that day, and he gave up 4 runs, and the Mets beat the Braves 5-4. Ha ha, Jonathan.
Yeah.
The Mets beat the Braves 5-4, and they kept Seaver in for the whole game.
Because your guy is going to keep you close and give your offense a chance to come back.
Right.
Your best starter is going to be better.
Plus, too, I mean, most of those guys, George, weren't they like topping out at like 90, 92, 93? I mean, now these guys are pushing 100 like all the time. So I think that's got something to do with it too, I think.
Well, Nolan Ryan was a freak of nature.
That guy, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Carlton threw hard, Seaver threw hard, but yeah, the other guys not so much.
But Seaver had like.
I mean, look at a guy like Maddox or Glavine. Those guys didn't throw hard at all, but they were out there pitching 7 innings every single time.
I think it's more the obsession with pitch count. It's like somebody, Sutcliffe, they asked him about pitch count. He's like, I never heard that term when I was playing. Never.
Right.
No one cared.
Honestly, you didn't hear about saves until I think it was the late 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another bullshit stat.
Yeah, babying the pictures, man. I know.
Yeah. No, that's
the evidence against it is
up, George.
It's amazing, the evidence against it, but nobody counters it.
No.
But all right. But I think this was a very healthy, great discussion. I loved it. And guys, I want to do this more. We should do this more. Maybe
I love talking baseball.
Every month, but we obviously know it well, so we should keep this going. And both Pete and George, I thank you so much for being here, and I thank our audience for watching as always. Visit All or Nada according to Jack, and if you can, please subscribe. Please put your comments in the comments section. Please go over to Sea of Tranquility and view all of Pete's great shows that he has. I've been watching you for 2-3 years, and it's the best. So
thank you, my friend. Appreciate it.
Been a good mentor. Thank you.
It's with the help of guys like you that make it all happen, So
yeah,
it goes without saying.
But in any event, okay. One final goodbye from everybody. Have a good one.
Take care, everybody. Thanks for watching.
All right.
Talking baseball soon.
Yep. Bye.